And there is a policy, an integrated ICT policy, groot Engelse woorde, maar wat het net beteken is, daar is 'n beleid, daar is 'n wet, 'n white paper, dit word 'n white paper genoem. Vandag praat die president, so julle gaan nou bietjie baie slim wees wanneer hy nou praat vanaand, because he's going to talk a lot about laws and white papers, and so there's a white paper on ICT, on integrated ICTs. En in die dokument het ons nou die groepe in die departement wat deel met vroue, kinders en gestremde mense. We decided that we need to also look at how do we oh, somebody's calling me. I'm just going to see now what I do about that. How do we, in terms of the department, look at the issues of gender-based violence? So in that ICT white paper, there is a section on inclusion that deals met hoe maak ons seker dat mense ingesluit word. And that's the first reason where the issues of gender-based violence, issues relating to how people are violated, how people, poverty, all those issues is in that section. Die tweede rede hoekom die departement betrokke geraak het, is omdat ons verantwoordelik is vir om die land na die 4th Industrial Revolution toe te vat. Remember, we talked about the 4IR. So in 2021, the president set up a commission to look at how are we going to make the country be digital and go into the 4th Industrial Revolution. And that commission developed a report on how the country will do that. And even in that report, there is a section that deals with how do we ensure that women, youth and persons with disabilities and children are taken care of, are ensured that they don't die, that they don't get violated, that they don't get hurt, because otherwise they won't be able to take up those opportunities. And then the last thing in terms of the 3 areas that why we're doing what we're doing is because of the National Strategic Plan on GBV that was called out, and that every department was asked to have an action plan. Because onthou ek het vir julle die eerste dag gesê, die nasionale plan is vir almal. Dis nie net vir die regering nie, maar in die regering moet elkeen 'n aksieplan hê, en die departement het 'n plan uitgewerk. So dis die konteks, né? That's why we are doing what we are doing, because we are a technology. Our role is to make the country digital. So you will ask, waar pas ons nou in by GBV? Maar ons pas in omdat tegnologie kan GBV help, maar dit kan ook GBV aanspoor. En dis hoekom ons moet seker maak dat ons die tegnologie gebruik in 'n manier wat GBV afbring, en dat ons vir ander help om te verstaan how they can use technology to overcome GBV in their spaces. So now I'm going to talk about the National Strategic Plan. So the National Strategic Plan has 6 pillars. The first pillar deals with accountability, leadership and coordination. So dit praat oor hoe ons verantwoording vat, en hoe ons leierskap vat, en hoe gaan ons koördineer in die areas in. En hierdie is nie net for the departments, it's for you, in your life, in your spaces. Where are you taking accountability for what is happening in our country? How are you taking leadership? What are you doing? And what coordination structures are you setting up in your home, in your society, in your community to overcome GBV? But in the plan, the president expects every department to have, firstly, a target, something in our plans that says we are going to deal with GBV. So DCDT has that. He expects everyone to have a structure, like an institutional structure in their organization that drives GBV. that is the chief directorate that we are responsible for, that is in our department, that drives the issues of GBV. So we have a structure. Then he expects you to have a plan. And we have the DCDT action plan on GBV. So those are the things that you must have in terms of the first pillar. All departments must have that. So you must check by social development, by health, by education. Do they have a plan? Do they have a structure that drives GBV? And do they have a target in their national strategic plans that deals with GBV? And then lastly, do they collaborate and coordinate with other departments? That's why we work with social development, we work with NGOs, because we have to collaborate with other departments. So that is the first pillar. En vir julle wil ek sê in terme van die eerste pilaar, julle moet gaan kyk na die reports, because all departments must write a report every month. We must write a report about what we have done, and we submit it to the presidency around how we have overcome GBV in that month, based on what the national plan says. The second pillar deals with prevention. And this is the pillar, one of the pillars where DCDT does a lot of work. So pillar 2, because it deals with how do we prevent GBV. I'm not sure, is someone trying to get my attention? Are you still with me, ladies? Yes. Okay. Because I think I'm hearing my phone, but I think I'm going to give it to Lizzie, and then she can just answer. So, the second pillar is the one on prevention. So in the pillar on prevention, there are also certain things that all departments must do. And the first thing that all departments must do is they must have campaigns, like awareness campaigns on how they are going to raise awareness around gender-based violence. They must have media campaigns on how they are going to tell the country about GBV and what they do. And in that regard, DCDT has what is called the South African Broadcasting Corporation, SABC. And SABC has a number of programs. You would have seen on SABC, there's adverts, there's programs about gender-based violence. Het julle al programme gesien op SABC? En op die radio, daar's altyd advertenties op die radio where they talk to you about this is what you must do if you are being abused. So that is a part of the work of DCDT, and that is what SABC is doing. Then we also have what is called a program that we are implementing, the Child Online Protection Program, where we specifically talk to children about how they must be protected online. We do that in schools. We also have a program that deals with e-parenting, where we talk to parents around how they must enable their children and protect their children in the digital space. We also work with social development, like in this program. Part of this program is also awareness, that we do awareness workshops and we talk to survivors and victims of GBV. We have dialogues, other dialogues where we talk about cyberbullying, cyberspace, and so on, where we work with our chief directorate that deals with cyber bullying. So those are the things that we do in relation to raising awareness as part of prevention. The second thing that they want you to do in that pillar is you must have a program that you do in terms of how you are going to enable content, like content that's on the phones, on the TV, on the radio, that content must not promote GBV. Dit moet nie nog meer violence aanspoor nie. En dit is waar DCDT specific a role het. We have a specific role there because the FPB Act online and make sure that they don't use terminology that further hurts you. Education will have a program in schools where they talk about GBV. I'm just giving you examples about what other departments will do. But what we did is to amend the FPB Act. Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, I'm on pillar two, prevention. Let me just see. No, you must go back. I think it's the wrong presentation. The wrong one. Oh. Must flight the one on the GBV action plan. It's not the right one. So, yeah, it's not that one. But it's fine, she will send the correct one. So the prevention pillar, so that is, then there is a national prevention strategy under that pillar. So you must also go and look for that prevention strategy that tells you what all the government departments must do. But I was focusing specifically on what DCDT did. And then what we've also done is we have also, in the prevention pillar, we have also worked with other NGOs where we would do awareness around how they can use technology to overcome GBV. So we would work with NGOs that has maybe a panic button or something where they are using that to promote it, and we will then get them to come and present, or we will get them to, we will support them in terms of promoting those panic buttons or information on hotlines, because here in the prevention pillar, it's about the hotlines, the how you can access information, before, it's about preventing GBV, before you get into the situation of GBV. So that's the second pillar on prevention. Then the third pillar deals with reporting, safety and justice. Now, this is the other pillar where DCDT does a lot of work. We have worked in this pillar in amending all the GBV laws. There are 3 specific laws that has been amended. The first one is the Domestic Violence Amendment Act. That law has been amended to include online reporting, so that you are able to do a online report when you are being abused. You are able to apply for a protection order online, and you are able to do your evidence via video or phone call, as opposed to being in the court physically. You need to bear with me today, ladies. My throat is very sore. So that's the first law, and DCDT played a critical role in ensuring that the law is amended to include the online issues. And then there is also an amendment now that you can take an intermediary, someone that can speak on your behalf in court, so that if you are not able to speak, you are so traumatized, you're not comfortable, that person then delivers or speaks for you, especially for children, for persons with disabilities, and for older persons. But also other victims can also request an intermediary. And then that's another amendment can I have some water, please? In the Domestic Violence Act. Are you still with me, ladies? So the Domestic Violence Act has been amended, and it is in force now since April 2021. So all the provisions in the Act, you have the right to access those provisions. So you must not, if you are able to there's in some courts, the protection, the online protection orders are in force already. Obviously, it's not everywhere. So please just make sure that you find out, you can go online, you can check which court has access to where you can do a online protection order. Then the second act is the Criminal Offences Act that has also been amended. And in that act, it's also related to the online register where sex offenders are registered, where their information. So if you are aware of somebody in your community that is a sex offender, and then you can go and check if he or she is registered, if they are on the sex offenders register, because they must all be registered. Which one are you on now? Pillar 3. So the next one is the FBB Amendment Act. I've spoken about that already, but I'm going to talk about it now in terms of the amendments. Ne? So the FBB Amendment Act has been amended to include the provision that the creation, distribution of sexual private images is a crime now, and you can be prosecuted if you do that. You can go to jail for 2 years, you can pay a fine up to 150,000, depending on the number of pictures, videos. So there's a case that has been concluded, I think it's concluded, where the fine was almost 50 million rand because of the multitude of videos and pictures and things, you understand? So it's dependent on what the content of the case is, but the act has been amended to include that as a provision so that you are not further victimized. The other act that is included is the Sexual Offences Act that was also amended. There is a number of provisions. There's a number of provisions in that act as well for victims, and what the act has done, and this took a long time, ladies. It was done from November 2020 up to about March 2021. The portfolio committee met, DCDT attended all those meetings. We gave inputs in terms of ensuring that issues relating to online, also the issue of if you are abused online in terms of whether it's a platform that's being used, then one of the things now is that content must be removed. It must be removed from the platform within a certain period of time. If you go and make a case, that's also part of the amendments. So what I would advise you is to familiarize yourself with all these acts and to go and look at all the provisions. But what I'm basically giving you is what the DCDT has done. But Justice, the Department of Justice, is the lead department when it comes to Pillar 3. So we can move to Pillar 4 now. So Pillar 4 is the one that deals with care, support, and healing, yes. Care, support, and healing. So in this pillar, DCDT is not that active in terms of participation and in terms of programs. Ne? So here we also want your ideas, because this pillar is very much physical. Hierdie pillar gaan oor hoe help ons die victim wanneer hulle al reeds ge-abuse was. Ne? Wat se support gee ons? How do we help you to heal, to get through a place of being healed and restored? And here, social development is the key department. Social development is die main department hierso. Maar wat ons doen as DCDT, ons is deel van die pillar waar hulle discuss die wette wat verander word vir victim support. Op die oomblik is daar 'n bill where the support services bill for victims. So you must also go and look and just Google support services bill for victims. Then you will find the information about the bill that's being discussed in Parliament now. And it's about you. It's about how government is going to support you. And what we said to them in that bill is we said they must also look at online support in terms of, because they must not just look at the offline support, because people are also abused online, but people are also on their phones. So what we do in this pillar mostly is we engage with social development, we engage with other departments, we engage with NGOs, we try to get you online support. So what we have here is we have Childline SA. This is now specifically for children. They have an online counseling service for when children are being abused, or when you as the parent wants to talk to them about advice on how to help your child. They also have a number, 11, and then we have also given input to the victim support bill, as I said, and we have also worked with social development. Will come and do presentations at our workshops about the cycle of abuse. I want to just pause here quickly and talk about the cycle of abuse. Do you all know what the cycle of abuse is? Die siklus van mishandeling. It's when you are in an abusive relationship and then you are beaten, you are violated, you are hurt, but then the perpetrator comes back and he says he's sorry, he buys you flowers, he takes you out, he buys you a car even, if he's rich obviously, and you are all happy again, and life goes on, and then 5 months later, something triggers it again, something happens to him, he hits you, he beats you up again, and then you say, no, it's enough, I'm leaving. You go to your parents or you go somewhere, he comes there again, he begs you, he tells you he's never ever going to do it again, you give him another chance, and so it goes on, and it's a cycle, it's a cycle. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, and eventually either the victim dies or the victim gets out. It's only those two. And in most cases, this happens 7 times. 7 times the victim goes back, and in the 7th time, he either gets out of the situation or they die. And this is where social development does a lot of work in terms of explaining to people why there is a cycle of abuse, because it has to do with how your brain works. It has to do with how the brain works. It's very psychological. It's not just something that happens. And they will, that's why this pillar, social development has a lot of psychological support programs. They have men's programs. They have programs for children where they have programs for victims that are human trafficked, in terms of enabling them to be supported, to be healed, and to get counseling. You can move to pillar 5. So pillar 5 is the one on economic power. And in this pillar, we do a lot of work because we want to make sure that victims get out of the abusive situation. So all government departments are expected to do work in pillar 5. And DCDT, in terms of pillar 5, for example, we have the first thing that all departments are expected to have is we must have internally. You must have a plan internally. And that plan internally is a sexual harassment policy. So if you have an organization, if you are in an organization, you must check, do they have a sexual harassment policy? And does that policy talk about being sexually harassed in terms of on the basis of your gender? Like
internship programs, learnership programs. Then you are told you can get the job, but if you do a sexual favor. That is where the sexual harassment policy comes in, where it can be reported and it is a violation and it needs to be dealt with. So that's the first thing that all government departments must have. DCDT has a sexual harassment policy. Most of our state-owned entities, CETA, SABC, and USASA has a sexual harassment policy. The other entities are still working on it. The second thing that you must have in this pillar is you must have a program or a process that looks at how do you support victims and survivors to be able to be economic, to get their economic power back. So that includes providing them with information around starting businesses, or it includes information about careers in your sector. It includes information about access to information about study opportunities in your sector, and it includes opportunities, employment opportunities in your sector. So for us as DCDT, we are digital, so most of our things are around ensuring that people get digital skills, that people understand the digital career opportunities, that people are able to get into digital entrepreneurship. And we have done a lot of work in this area where we would do workshops, where we would do training, where we would do, and not just in this program, we have programs like the broadcasting digital migration. You know that we are not going to be able to watch TV anymore in the analog form. So if you still have that big TV at home, on the 1st of April, you will not be able to see anything, ne? If you do not have a digital box or if you don't have a smart TV. So in that area, we are also training people, and we try to make sure that they include survivors and victims of GBV. We also train in terms of digital skills, like Namisa does that. We also do in terms of USASA supports centers. They give connectivity to centers where people are that are victims or survivors. So those are some of the things that we do. We do dialogues on understanding business so that you are able to, and we make sure that we include gender people that are affected by GBV. Other departments, like small business, will, for example, have funding programs. They will be supporting SMMEs. Transport will have programs where if they have a transport program, then they would have to include people that are survivors and victims. You understand? So I'm trying to explain to you that every government department must have programs that deals with GBV for entrepreneurship, for employment, and for career opportunities, so that women, girls, men and boys that are violated can get out of that situation. And you can read there some of the things that we have done. You can move, Lizzie, or whoever is doing. So this is still part of what we've done in terms of Pillar 5. We have also made sure that in terms of Pillar 5, the other area is the employment equity. In terms of employment equity, they have also said that you need to look at, are you promoting, are you checking if the people that is being promoted, are they victims and survivors of GBV? So it's gonna, I think, even get to a place where we're going to ask people to disclose, you know, to share if they have been abused, so that they can be preferred or provided or promoted in terms of when it comes to the EE targets as well. Because every department must have an employment equity target and must make sure that they employ women, they employ black people, and they employ people with disabilities. So DCDT obviously has an EE plan, and we do talk about these things when you do diversity training, inclusion training as part of EE, you must also include GBV. You can move, Lizzie. So the last pillar is the one on research, innovation and development, pillar 6. In hierdie pilaar gaan dit oor wat gaan ons doen om ontwikkeling te doen en om 'n navorsing te doen om te kyk hoe kan ons hierdie ding oorkom en watse sisteme kan ons in plek sit om seker te maak dat mense makliker kan inligting kry oor survivors en oor victims. So in this case, DCDT has a portal that we have developed and for e-services so that you are able to access e-services easier. And we have also worked with Justice to look at the online portal. Remember I talked about that you can give protection orders online. Maar toe hulle dit ontwikkel, het hulle nie in gedagte geneem mense met gestremdhede nie. They didn't think about people with disabilities. So we help them to look at how do they make that portal accessible for persons with disabilities. So those are the things that we do in this pillar. It's about systems, it's about research, it's about looking at how do we get information and data about people that are affected by the scourge. And again, DCDT works in this pillar, but not as much as we primarily work in pillar 2, pillar 3, and pillar 5. But we support pillar 1, 4, and 6. Okay, Lizzie, I think that's the end of this presentation. Yeah, I just want to indicate that. So that is the NSP. So now I'm going to talk about the GBV, as I explained to you. What is GBV and why do we have gender-based violence in the country? And how do technology support GBV? You must put that other presentation on now. The one that you had first. So in terms of GBV, like I said earlier, there are different types of gender-based violence. I want you to tell me, because you are victims and survivors of GBV. Can you tell me the types of GBV? Can I get some input before I tell you what I know? The types of GBV. Anyone? Okay. Where's the end?
Emotional abuse, economically abuse, physical abuse, and sexual abuse.
It's also another type of abuse is also spiritual abuse.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, anyone else? We'll talk about that quite a bit more. Anyone else?
A verbal abuse and the financial abuse.
You can move to the next slide, whoever is writing. You can move to the next slide, whoever is writing, please. You can move here.
And cyberbullying?
And cyberbullying, okay. Thank you. So, yes, that's most of the things that you said. There are various forms of GBV. The most common known ones are physical abuse, emotional abuse, economic abuse, and sexual violations. However, someone mentioned spiritual abuse, and then there is cyber abuse or online abuse that is also now included. And we need to make sure that we understand what GBV is and why we are in the situation that we are in. So I'm not going to go into the entire presentation because we are having other people that must present. I want us to just note that in terms of this presentation,
remind you of the pillars. You can move to the next one. Okay, can you move to the next slide? Because those are the pillars. Those are the pillars. And what we did was they tried to do the pillars in a way that it supports all the types of GBV and that it enables us. That's why we have a pillar on economic power to deal with economic abuse. We have a pillar on prevention so that we can prevent all the forms of abuse. And we have a pillar on reporting so that we are able to report whatever is happening. So,
Sorry, before you move on, can we just not forget about the cultural abuse?
okay. When we will, okay, we will note it, but we will discuss just now. Okay, cultural abuse, okay. So, sorry. So we are now on a time to act, basically. We need to decide what is it that we are going to do. Remember I said that we're going to have a conversation, and I want us now to stop here, and you need to share what do you think you can do. What are some of the actions? You can ask questions, but you can also give us some actions of what is it that you think you can do. No, they must respond. Can you respond? Any responses? What can we do to overcome the scourge of GBV after having listened to the presentation and your action, but also if you have a challenge, you can also share that.
The safest way for me was getting a restraining order.
Okay, to get a restraining order. So can you share about your experience? Was it easy? Was it difficult?
No, it wasn't easy, it was difficult, but yeah, like you said, it's a cycle. If you don't break the cycle, it won't stop.
Okay. So one of the actions we can take is to get a restraining order or a protection order. So, yeah.
Good morning. I've listened to the conversation now, and it's quite interesting. I watched this movie, it's called Maid, right? And this girl, she was like verbally abused, and she ran away with a child and whatever. But what was interesting was that in that movie, I saw like, it's an institution. There's an institution she went to, almost like a shelter for gender-based violence victims. So I was thinking, why don't government start something like that? Or is there already
Okay.
shelters like that where they also can help victims, educate them, bring awareness? Because most of the times when you are a victim, you don't know where to go. You don't want to be in that situation. Or you've been abused now this morning, so tonight you must go home. Where do you go to?
Okay, thank you. So shelters and places of safety for victims, we do have a lot in the country already. And social development is responsible for that, as I said earlier. There are a number of shelters and places of support. So yes, I agree. I also watched that. It's actually a series on Netflix. I would encourage you to also watch it because it's very inspiring. It basically depicts the cycle of abuse, actually. Thank you for that. We'll take a last one here, then we will move.
I just think, when you go through abuse, your self-confidence is really broken down. And it can take you literally years to overcome that or never overcome that. Like you said, you're either, the victim either ends up dead, or what was the other one?
Or they
get away. I think what would be awesome is to empower women and actually teach them self-defense. So that way they become fitter, stronger. It's a good exercise. They become mentally strong. because spiritually, physically, psychologically, you get broken down. And yeah, self-defense. We need self-defense to get our power back. Firstly, it is God, obviously, but you know, I'm repeating myself, but because I feel so strong about this, but to fight back, because,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so another action is looking at self-defense programs for women. So I would encourage you to also look at if there are such things in your communities and get involved. Don't wait now for the government to create a program, because there are obviously programs, but that's a very good thing. That's why I also said on the day one, exercising, it also helps in terms of building your emotional strength. But yes, self-defense programs, that's good. Thank you.
We have got last two.
Okay.
Hi, good morning, everyone. For me, the experience I had was I was first raped when I was 2 years old, and it went on for about 10 years. I was also tortured and physically abused, all different people. I didn't really remember any of the abuse until I did, because it all came back one day like a big wave, big tsunami. And the first thing for me was to talk about it, and every time I asked the question, people would just tell me, no, don't ask those questions. But what helped me was to raise the issue and talk about what had happened to me, and through that I found more answers. So definitely to speak out against abuses. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your story, and know that you are an overcomer, and that the fact that you are still here means that God has a plan and a purpose for your life. And we are truly, truly sorry for what you have experienced, but we thank God that you are here and that you were able to share your story. And yes, talking about it. So the first action on the next slide, but this is just where we are in terms of what are the issues. But the first action on the next slide is to actually talk about the abuse, to speak out about abuse. So that is definitely an action that I would want to encourage each and every one of you to take up. The last one.
Yeah. Hi. My story is basically to do with what can we do about the gender-based violence issues. Is we can start by teaching our children that it's wrong. I was living in an abusive relationship for 10 years, and relating a little to Alex say I was raped when I was 18, and because my mother rejected me from the day I was born practically, when I told her, she said either you abort the baby or you go stay with him. Because I refused to drop the child, I was forced to stay with my rapist. He abused me for 10 years physically, attempted more sexual, but I made sure that he didn't get that right. And unfortunately, my son, because we stayed basically in a room, we didn't have a house, my son witnessed all of the physical abuse. But every time when it was over, I would sit down with my son and I would speak to him and I would tell him and I would ask him, do you think what daddy did is right? And I would speak to him and I would explain to him and I would try and help him understand why his father is like that, even if I didn't have much of a clue. I sat down with my son and I spoke to him about it. My son is turning 18 and not once has he ever got into trouble for lifting his hands to any female.
Amen. Okay, thank you so much again for sharing your story. I want to tell you that you are a survivor and you are a phenomenal person, because that's one of the main things that we encourage people to do, is the socialization of children. That's the first, one of the things that will assist us to overcome the scourge of GBV, is how we socialize our boys and our girls, and how we, if we do not encourage the norms and the standards that is placed on us by by society, but that we remind boys and girls that they can do anything that they set their mind to, that there is no difference between them because they are equal in the sight of God, but they are also equal in terms of what they can do. And the fact that what you did is called, there's a psychological term for it, what you did with your son, in terms of you basically reinforced the correct behavior. But even though you didn't know what you were doing, but that was what made him be who he is today. The fact that you took him every time after he witnessed an abusive situation. And that's what I want to encourage people that are still in a abusive relationship. If your child is being exposed to it, you must make sure that you take your child to a place where you bring him back into the norm, into the correct space. And that's what she did. So that is definitely one of the things that you should do, is to ensure that you support your child. You make sure that your child understands that what he or she witnessed is not correct. It is not what should happen. And you also remind them that that person is still their father or their mother. What they are doing is not right. And so I'm very thankful for you sharing. So what is on the screen now is just some of the areas, the things that you can look at in terms of support. You can move to the next slide, please.
So this is essentially just basically the laws. I'm just giving you the acts again so that you can go and look at them in terms of what the laws that has been amended. You can move, Khobi. And then just to remind us in terms of what UNICEF is saying, why we are doing what we are doing is because we are faced with a scourge of GBV. You can move, Khobi. Then lastly, just this is what I want to stand still on. I want you to look at this, and this is the actions. That's why I was asking you to tell me before I show you some of the things that we must do. The first thing we must do is we must tell someone about the abuse. We must even encourage our children to talk about the abuse. That's what one of the ladies was saying. You must talk about the abuse. The second one is that you must take all violence seriously. And here I want to talk about online violence. We must not share videos of online violence. We must not record online violence. When somebody is fighting and killing someone, we run out, we take our phones, and we actually record it and send it on. If you are doing that to report, yes, it's correct. But if you are doing it to share it with other people for giving them information, it's not correct. We must take all, and when your child comes and they tell you they have been violated, please take it seriously. That's the other thing. Then take a stand. Now in terms of the law, if you know about someone that's being abused and you don't report, you can also be prosecuted. That's another amendment in the Act. That's why you must take a stand. Don't just say it's not my problem, it's not my issue. And then be an individual. Remember we talked about this yesterday. Don't be part of the mob, part of the group. And try to be an individual in terms of understanding what do you stand for and why do you stand for that. And continue to stand for the fact that you are not in terms of GBV, even yourself, even other people, even in your home, in your organization, wherever you find yourself, make sure that you have a focus that I will not support this. And then lastly, take your power back. For those that has been abused, and you can take your power back by participating in programs, by getting yourself digitally literate, by doing more courses for this program. And then remembering that putting other people down does not make you big. It does not bring you up. Because even victims, yes, we do it because we were a victim. And because we were a victim, we hurt people, hurt other people. But that's why we need to get to healing and counseling so that we can heal, so that we are not hurting other people. The last slide, I think. Yeah, thank you very much for listening to me. I'm going to open it up now for last questions, comments before we close the section. This is where you must give us ideas, your stories, anything that you would like to ask the conversation. Any comments, any questions? Okay, we're going to take those two and then we will close the session.
Good morning, ladies. I hope you guys is doing well this morning. I just have a few words this morning. You know, when being abused, you know, some of us are so afraid to even speak up because you think people will not believe you, what you're going through. Because sometimes that person that abused you is so convincing in his lies that people believe him and you feel so unworthy, unvalued in life that you think you mean nothing to the world. And that is more depressing in your abuse than anything else. So rape victims, I'm one of them. Abused, you name it. But I say thank you for the Lord that I'm still standing and breathing today. Because wasn't it for him, I wouldn't know where I ended up. And I want to say, ladies, have the courage to stand up and stand your ground and fight what you believe in is right for yourself.
Thank you. So for me, I think I'm going to go back to what you said with regards to how can we help this GBV thing, right? So I was thinking, you know, sometimes when you want to heal someone, you want to heal them with the experience that you have regarding that particular thing. So I was thinking, right, if only there could be, like, let's say maybe you go for counseling, right? Social workers, they do not, okay, well, some of them they do, but not all of them have the experience of being in GBV, whatever situation, right? And I feel like it would be better for the other person to heal and also to understand that they are not alone. In fact, people that go through what I am going through, they are there and they survived. I think it's much better when you are hearing it from someone that has gone through the same journey or, you know, the same experience that you have gone through. Because theory, you can tell me something, and another thing, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Sometimes other people, if you haven't experienced something.
Please, let's respect each other, ladies. She's still on the floor.
Yeah. So as I was saying, sometimes, you know, when you have not gone through something, it's easy to just say, no, man, you're going to be fine. To another person, it's not that easy. It can take, I'm going to make an example about my mom. My mom grew up being abused and raped and whatnot. And she is only bleeding now. She's, what, 60-something years? But she's bleeding now. She still needs counseling. She still needs, and she's bleeding on us, unfortunately, and we have to take that.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And now tell me, that is, for me, that is emotional abuse. Yes. Because I have to be in a home where it's toxic, yes, where she sometimes just, you know. So I feel like, honestly, if there could be, like, social workers could work and also give opportunity to the people that are going through such, obviously they don't have.
Last two. I'm sorry, ladies, that I'm rushing you because obviously we do this presentation on the last day, but there's 2 other presentations that still needs to be done, and those people are waiting. We will maybe come back if there is time later, but if we can take these last 2.
I think I just want to give a little bit of encouragement that when we are in the season of healing, do not look at another person's healing, because their journey is completely different to yours.
Yes.
And so when you see that person healing,
Yeah.
and you look at the ulterior side of what that
Yes.
person is doing, dyeing their hair and going
Yes,
crazy,
yeah.
that person is not healed.
Yes.
So, and just to focus on your healing.
Yes.
Because when you are not healed, and especially we as mothers, we bleed on our children.
Yeah.
We bleed on the friends and the families that we feel we are healed now. We can automatically become social workers, and we want everyone to heal around us. And also when you are in your healing journey, try to observe who you share your story with. Be
Yes.
careful also of who you share your story with. For those that are not used to sharing, start by journaling. Speak to yourself. And you will see within your journal, you will see how you grow in your journal. I think I'll leave it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies. I just want to share a very short story of, from where I come. I was originally born in Namibia, and I came from a perfect family in my mind. And not knowing that, not being made aware of abuse in different kinds of way, I never thought that my father beating my mother would emotionally traumatize me. And only at the age of 37, and it was last year when I came into recovery, I realized the trauma that I've been through all the years as a child. I've also been sexually abused from a young age, but only in a journey of self-discovery, I was taught and I realized that all the years that I have been abused, not only physically, I haven't been abused physically by my, being laid hands on, besides being sexually abused. The emotional and mentally trauma that I've been through, that I'm still having to deal with, actually result in me being absent-minded in my son's life for 11 years. He's 12 now. And I can only be there mentally and emotionally once I'm healed. So that is also something that we as adults should think of when we're going through trauma, that it's not only us going through, but what we also put our kids through. So the quicker we deal with trauma ourselves, we can educate our children on that, and that they don't need to deal with it.
Okay, I think that was the last person.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you so much for the inputs. I think the first one was around that we should look at getting survivors of GBV to be involved in the counseling processes and in the healing processes. I think we will take note of that. That will obviously be for social development. As I indicated, they are the main department when it comes to issues. But in our case, what we do is we have these workshops, we have these programs, but what we also will take note of is to look at bringing survivors of GBV to come and share their story, someone that is now on the other side. I think that is something that we will take from what you said, because we obviously will not be able to be in terms of social development, but that's noted. I think the second person spoke about that we should not measure ourselves against another person when they are going through the healing process or when we're going through the healing process. And that's very important. I think one of the things I said was be an individual. Always be you in terms of what you are doing, where you are at. And healing is a process, but healing without forgiveness
is also a challenge. And forgiveness does not mean that you must go and have tea with the perpetrator. Please, it does not mean that. It just means that you must release that person so that you are able to start your healing journey. And maybe you will never, ever, ever, ever talk to that person again. But you have released that person. But that is part of when you go through the counseling and so on. They take you through all of that. And then I just wanted to check the first person. I could not hear what she was saying, sorry, because I was a bit distracted. Yeah, if she can just quickly repeat. Oh, and then the one that spoke about trauma, child trauma, and then it becomes you can't then connect with your children, or you are traumatized at a later age. Yes, that's a lot of, there's a lot of people that has a challenge with that, because you think the life is perfect, but in actual fact it's not, because if you are exposed to violence, you are also being abused, because your emotional state will not be okay. And I think I would like to encourage you to still go for counseling, to still be able to speak to people about what happened to you when you were a child, and to also go for counseling with your child, to go for counseling with your 11-year-old or your 12-year-old, so that you are able to connect and get that relationship going. And then the one that spoke about the fact that now they are dealing with the emotional abuse from their mom, I would also want to encourage you to look at getting family counseling. Even if your mom doesn't want to go, even if she just sits there, it's okay. But at least she will hear whatever the counselor is saying, and she will go and do it when she feels she wants to do it. But try to look at getting family counseling instead of just saying, now we must just accept it. You understand? Because it's not good for you guys. Just the last person, I just want to hear, because I'm sorry I was distracted. Oh, it's okay, Lizzie. It's not her. I remember now, sorry. It was the one that was talking about the fact that you must talk. When you talk about that you don't have the courage to even talk about, it was you, ne? That you don't have the courage to talk about abuse, because you feel like people think you are nothing and you are worthless. I want to just say that yes, sometimes when we have been a victim of abuse, one of the things that happens is we project, we basically perceive everything that other people do as them not liking us. Like if somebody disagrees with you, like you are having a conversation and you saying the sky is red and they say but it's blue, then you think they disagree with you. They don't like you. But they are actually just saying, but the sky is blue, it's not red. You know, they're just disagreeing with what you are saying, with your opinion, with your idea. But because of the trauma, especially sexual abuse, that's one of the things that happens to people that has been sexually abused, because it violates your person, your being, and you basically think that everybody hates you. Everybody doesn't like you. So everything that people say. So I think what you need to do, you can also go for counseling. I'm not a social worker. I'm not a counselor. All I'm telling you is based on what I've read and what I've read and what I've researched. But what you can do is you can go for counseling to ask them to help you to deal with identity, the identity issues, so that you are able to know how to deal with when people are responding to you, when people are engaging with you. And for everyone, I would say, because that is
it is related to the fact that you've been abused. That you feel that everything that people do or say, even if someone just looks at you in a way that you think is not, you take it back to the abuse. So yeah. But thank you, ladies, for listening. Thank you for the ideas. You gave us lots of good ideas. And I hope that this session has helped you to get a better understanding of what's happening in the country around combating GBV. Thank you, and sorry to the program for taking longer than what was agreed on. Okay, ladies, we are going to take a presentation now from Tombi. I think it's in Tombi, ne? Is it in Tombi or is it Modikwe? Are they, who's starting? Okay, so Ntombi will start. Ntombi is from the department. Ladies, can I have your attention? Ntombi is from the Department of Communication and Digital Technology from DCDT. She will be talking to you about the audio-visual content presentation. This is related to broadcasting. Remember, we explained to you that the department deals with broadcasting, we deal with technology, mobile technology, we deal with IT, we deal with 4IR technologies. This one is related to broadcasting, the policy on broadcasting. So she will be, they will be just sharing what we have done and what the policy is about so that you are also aware of what's happening in the broadcasting space. Thank you. Tombi, can you hear me? Okay, so you can start so long. I think they're trying to set up your presentation, but you can greet and introduce yourself, if that's okay with you. Oh, so they're saying a moment, sorry. What is happening now? What are you saying, Tanya? No, I'm saying Nzwaki just called to say DM is coming at 12. Okay.
Zakele, are you able to see my screen and my face?
Yes. We can hear you,
but
we're not seeing anything.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see now.
Oh, okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Chair, for the opportunity to do this presentation. My name is Dombi Magwetu. As Petronella has indicated, I'm from the same department in the Broadcasting Chief Directorate, where we deal with mainly broadcasting policies. However, we are now moving away from the name broadcasting because broadcasting is traditional. We have moved into the digital environment, as I think many of you would have known or would have noticed. So what we're dealing with is audiovisual content policies. And this is an international phenomenon. It's not a South African phenomenon only. I'm going to start my presentation mode. Okay, let me just minimize here. Okay, as Petronella has indicated, I'm not going to go to each and every bullet, right? I'm just going to highlight the rationale why, as a department, we've decided to come up with this white paper. And in the main, really, this white paper is trying to make sure that as a country, we level the playing field. I'm going to try as much as possible to move away from the policy concepts, just so that at least everybody is on the same page. So you would have noticed that not only in South Africa, there are new players that are within the audiovisual or broadcasting space. Initially or traditionally, would know that we used to have the SABC, which is our public broadcaster, ETV, which is e-media, where they provide news services, and they also provide programs in the other platform, which is ETV. And we also have the multi-choice, which is a subscription broadcaster where you pay for subscription. However, we now have streaming services such as your Netflix, your Amazon, your Google TV, and others. And then as government, we then noticed that given the fact that these are the traditional broadcasters or traditional players are under regulation and policy and legislation in South Africa, it's very important that these new players are also brought under regulation in South Africa. For an example, one of the regulations that we have in the country is local content quotas, meaning each broadcaster has to make sure that there is broadcasting of South African languages in their programs. For an example, in news and in soapies and dramas, that the South African languages. There's promotion of language, there's promotion of heritage, but also making sure that there's inclusion of other groups in the country. For an example, people with disabilities, that they are also catered for in terms of them being able to access content in these different platforms. And this is, we really call it regulatory parity, where we make sure that everybody else is equally regulated. But on top of that, this policy is also promoting that as we are in this digital environment, we don't regulate according to the type of technology that you use in your broadcasting, and that we call technology neutrality. And this policy is also making sure that there is indeed fair competition. You would understand that companies that are coming from, international countries or internationally, they tend to have deep pockets in terms of their own finances. So we need to make sure that while we welcome them into our own country, we make sure that we also promote what is our own in terms of competition, because you might find that there are those, smaller stations or smaller companies that are also trying to get into the audiovisual space. So we need to make sure that we also protect those. So when it comes to our own regulation in South Africa, we have licensing. For an example, if you're a broadcaster or an audiovisual content player, you need to have a license. So this is depending really on the type of service that you provide. Or you are either registered. For an example, we have one of our entities, which is called Film and Publications Board. That regulator regulates those that are providing their services through the internet, like your Netflix, as I said, your Showmax, for an example. So those might need just to register. And the other one that we have is notification, where, for an example, you just notify the relevant regulator in terms of your own services. We've got your Facebook in South Africa, we've got your Twitter, we've got all these social media platforms. So what this policy is calling for is that all those types of services will need to come under some sort of regulation. We also have in the country what we call co-regulation. Co-regulation is when a certain sector, they regulate themselves, but in conjunction with the regulator. Let me give you an example. I'm sure you do know the BCCSA, which is the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. So that commission co-regulates with the regulator. We also have what we call self-regulation. As an example, in the country we have SANEF, which is your newspaper organizations, where they self-regulate themselves. However, when they develop their own guidelines, and codes in terms of their own regulations. Those will need to then be done in conjunction or in consultation with the regulator. So these are just the objectives of the white paper. Like I said, I'm not going to go to each and every bullet point. I'm sure you can see for yourself some of those objectives that we want to achieve through the white paper. Probably the one that I did not mention when I was mentioning the different types of regulatory regime that we have in the country, or one of the objectives of the white paper, is also to make sure that within the audiovisual space, we have relevant skills, because the skills are changing given that the new technologies are coming into play. So skills are also changing. So we need to make sure that there's programs that are focusing on upskilling for those, for an example, producing content for the audiovisual. Those people will need to have skills, but also the broadcasters as well, or those that are playing in space, need to make sure that they have the up-to-date skills for them to be able to participate and provide content that is required. So the other aspect that is covered by the white paper is also focusing on the production of content in the country. As I said, that this policy is not only focusing on the players, but it's also focusing on the demand side, which is your skills, which is your content production, like I said, competition, ownership, and investment. So the white paper is really also deliberate in making sure that we promote gender, equality, diversity, and digital inclusion. So as such, what we're proposing in the white paper is that there should be a gender equality, diversity, and inclusion guidelines, which will make sure that as a country we're able to promote gender equality, diversity, and inclusion in the audiovisual sector. I think I also want to highlight the fact that the white paper is also focusing on online content safety. You would know that one of the challenges that we are faced with within the digital space, it's not only a South African challenge, it is a global challenge. Cyberbullying within the digital space, that children are not safe, there are people who contact children through online platforms, etc. So this policy is also meant to make sure that there's online safety as far as children are concerned, but also there's online safety as far as adults are concerned. So that when people transact online, or they watch whatever content that they watch online, they are also safe. So those are also coming under the ambit of the white paper. So in the main, this aspect of making sure that there's promotion of gender, quality, diversity, and digital inclusion, the white paper is proposing that this responsibility should be assigned to the regulator, or the new regulator. What we've noticed globally, or in other jurisdictions, is that what will happen, for example, in South Africa, we have ICASA, we have Films and Publications Board. ICASA is responsible for broadcasting. Films and Publications Board is responsible for classification. But to a certain extent, within the new law, they are responsible for content that is provided in the internet or online, or like I said, your Netflixes of this world. So this policy is recommending that there must be a new regulator that will be all-encompassing, right? To look at all these aspects that I've noticed, because currently they are straddled, amongst various regulators. But also, more importantly, making sure that there is monitoring, there is ongoing research and assessment to make sure that we improve on gender ratios. And then what we're also proposing, that there should be an annual report that will track the issues around gender, diversity and inclusion. So that's what the white paper is proposing as well. So Chair, my presentation is quite short because I decided that I rather not bog your participants really with other aspects of the white paper that might not necessarily be relevant for this session.
Okay,
Thank you so much,
thank
Chair.
you. Thank you, Ntombi. Thank you very much. It's also assisting us slightly because we are expecting the Deputy Minister to arrive at 11:30. So thank you for that. But you did cover most of the issues. So I would like to firstly ask you to give a hand, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. Okay, we will give her a digital clap at the end, ne? Because we are forgetting now. All right, so can I get 3 people that wants to ask anything? Remember, this is around the white paper on how broadcasting will change in the country, but it's also about you in terms of that there's a section now on online safety in the white paper. There's also opportunity for broadcaster, for you to look at if you are a broadcaster or you want to be a broadcaster or you're working with broadcasting. So any questions, anything that you would like to ask in terms of the presentation? I don't see any hands. I'm not sure if I intimidated you now by talking about the Deputy Minister. Okay, let's forget about that. Let's forget about the Deputy Minister coming. Can we concentrate on the presentation? There was information that was provided. So even if you don't understand, even if you don't know what is a white paper, even if you've never heard of audio visual or anything like that, yeah, any questions? And obviously you can speak Afrikaans, you can speak Xhosa, and we will try to translate. Okay. It's fine. We will find out. Where's the mic? Ntombi, you can still hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. There's
Thank
one
you.
question now.
So yeah, I want to understand when it comes to. I've seen on social media people being posted. Maybe someone is owing someone, and then people will post you on social media. Could that be something that you can maybe report, or since you've mentioned that I don't know which law has been amended with regards to online whatever thing.
Okay, thank you. So I don't know if you heard, Ntombi, it's basically asking about when people owe people money, they put it on social media. And so she's asking if that is also going to be part of the online safety in this white paper. But I don't think so, but you will respond and then I will also come back to you to respond. There's a second hand.
Good morning. What I've noticed on Facebook, there's a lot of pornographic stuff that's been sent. If you report it on Facebook, then they come back to you and say, no, I don't think it's harmful, but even parents allow their children with smartphones. And they can also be victims to see all that porn on Facebook. How can they remove it? Because if you report it to them, they do nothing about it.
Okay, so that is again around explicit sexual images on social media platforms like Meta now. Which was formerly Facebook. How do you report that? And does this white paper, obviously, is it going to have anything to do with that? Is that the only questions? Okay, you can respond, Ntombi.
Thank you very much, Chair. So, Um, on people owing each other money and refusing to pay, uh, it's really not necessarily under the ambit of this white paper. However, probably broadly on any other issue that we feel is offensive in the social media platforms. Remember, this company have their own guidelines in terms of how you report content that you feel is offensive to you. So, in terms of you reporting or posting that person online that they owe you money, the challenge with that is that you would be the one that would be at fault, right? Because in the country, we do have processes that one can follow if one owes you money. I mean, there's small scales court, there's various alternatives that one can explore in terms of making sure that you are able to get your money. Otherwise, there is really no provision within the social media platforms. Hence, I'm saying if you do that, it means you are on the wrong. It's either you can even be sued by the person, or when you get reported either to Facebook or to X, your account will be blocked, obviously. So when it comes to explicit content on Facebook, once again, Facebook has its own guidelines in terms of you reporting an account that has those explicit images. But there's also information regulator in South Africa, which is one of those regulators that you can also reach out to if you feel that because that's really it borders on personal information when a person sends out your explicit images online. So, Pat, that is as far as I can be able to respond. However, okay, let me also say, in the white paper, we are indeed discussing some of those things in terms of how to make sure that the social media platforms are also brought under some form of regulation within the white paper itself. And I do want to also highlight, Pat, that the white paper is not only going to remain as a white paper.
Yes.
And the reason why it's called white paper, it will move to be a bill and it will move to be an act. And once it's an act, it's much more effective for us to be able to implement and enforce the provisions that will be in the act. Thank you.
Thank you, Ntombi. So yes, I think I just want to add to the last one, the section in the white paper that deals with online safety will also look at some of those issues, but not specifically related to the social media platforms. It will be more around Netflix, Showmax, because this is dealing with broadcasting. It's not dealing with social media. Remember, yesterday we had a presentation from FPB. FPB is the one that will be the one that looks at social media, where there's explicit sexual images, especially of children, that is, and also the one where it's without your consent. So that's where you would report it. We gave you the hotline yesterday as well for that second one. But thank you so much, Ntombi. I don't know if there's any other hands. We will take one more round. So can I check? There's one hand. Is there any other hands? Because after this, we will be releasing Ntombi. Only one hand more, Ntombi.
I would like to know, is there a way, or is it allowed, or can it be allowed in the future that you as a person, as an individual, also can see your digital footprint?
Okay. I think that one is also not for Ntombi, but I don't know, Ntombi, if you have any comment on it, because she's asking, how do you see your own digital footprint, like what you have done online, in terms of, so I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Uh, I can only advise PET because it's really not within the policy. Because I mean, each and every gadget is able to track where you have been, what you have used, and you can also set your device for it to be able to do that, to give you that intel in terms of where have you been, which sites have you been in, how much time have you used online. So for me, really, that will basically be my response. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Ntombi. I know this is not, that is part of the discussions that we had yesterday. So I think because you noted issues around online safety, I think they sort of got more interested in that. Because I think the white paper is still obviously a bit of a challenge in terms of understanding. But just to explain to you in brief, the white paper is basically going to regulate. Regulate means when you are in the shower, you either put the water hot or cold, and you get it to a point where you want it. You are regulating that water, you understand? So this policy is going to regulate how people broadcast or put content out on broadcasting platforms like Netflix, Showmax, SABC, or anywhere where there is content that's related to TV or radio content, even content that you self-generate, but if it is broadcasted, that's what this white paper is basically going to regulate. But thank you, Tombi. And then just to say with the digital footprint, you can search yourself, that's where you can start, and you can go back to your history. Remember, you were taught about how to look at your history. You can go back to your own history, and you can also search yourself. Then you will get an idea of some of the things that you've done in terms of your digital footprint, because it will definitely be there. Can we give Ntombi a digital clap, please? Sharon, can you help us to make sure it's woman? She's a star. In 3, 2, 1, let's go! She's a star. Thank you, Ntombi.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for listening to me.
You must have a blessed day further, Ntombi. So, Mudikwe, is he on? Yes. Okay. So, we will have the last presentation for today, which is on the digital skills strategy, the digital and future skills strategy. It's the one that talks to us about what the department is doing in terms of making everybody have a digital skill in the country. And it's normally done by the director, Ms. Nozipo, but today Modikwe, her colleague, that works very closely with her, will be doing it for us. Over to you, sir. You can continue and just give some more information about yourself. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone and colleagues. As mentioned, my name is Mudipwe Kapola from the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies. I'm doing the presentation on behalf of Ms. Nozipo Sihlahla. Unfortunately, my camera is not working properly. It's broken. I hope you guys can see me, at least for now. I will be switching the camera off, unfortunately. And thank you for the opportunity to do the presentation. I'm working in the ISET coordination, the Information Society coordination branch. We are responsible for facilitating the implementation of the digital skills strategy. So the presentation, it's mainly about the strategy that the department has developed. And we're talking digital skills because of the digital transformation that we see it's happening or is taking place. The revolution is mainly about the transition from the use of analog to digital technology. As you are aware, there's been a widespread use of digital technologies like computers, smartphones, and the internet. And we have changed, or the technology itself has changed the way people communicate, work, and access information. So, and some businesses and even government has also adopted the use of technology. So we also need to show, we need to ensure that people, the citizens, are able to use technology to connect with each other, to work from wherever they are, and be able to be productive through the use of efficient technology. So the digital transformation itself has also led to the demand for certain types of skills which are required to function in the future of work. It is also the reason why we developed this digital skills strategy. It was approved by Cabinet in 2020, and we also developed a digital and future skills implementation program which outlines the different activities and interventions that we need to follow to build the skills in South Africa. So the vision is mainly would like to see South Africa in which all its citizens can benefit from the enhanced level of digital skills as we move into the future or the digital future. So mainly what the vision says is all South Africans should acquire a certain level of digital skills to participate in the digital economy. The strategy is also anchored on agility, creativity, and problem solving. This means the learning should happen in a faster and more responsive way. The digital skills requires us to be agile in how we do learning. We have to be creative in the way we do things as well. It is said that by 2030, most jobs would require people to have some kind of digital skills because they have to solve problems in the future. And to survive in the future of work, you also need to be a problem solver. So problem solving is one of the very important skills in the digital economy. So this diagram here, it's mainly a summary of the pillars of the digital skills strategy. So the first pillar of the digital skills strategy is ensuring that we develop basic and intermediate digital skills. So what the strategy is advocating for is that digital skilling should actually start as soon as a child enters a learning environment. So from early childhood development or primary until they exit the learning system. So the second pillar of the strategy is advanced digital skills that needs to be developed. That will be dealt with at university and college level. The third pillar is developing skills for Industry 4.0 and the world of work. These are the skills that are needed in the world of work. The fourth one is Society 4.0 and digital skills divide, which mainly it's now focusing on you and I, the society in South Africa. And there's also a need for us to continuously do research. We need to continuously do research to inform the decisions that needs to be taken as we prepare ourselves for the new digital environment. And there's also a need for coordination. We need to ensure that the skills are done in a well-coordinated manner to avoid duplications of effort in doing the skilling in the country. We also need to make sure that we don't waste resources. And the other pillar is on funding, which refers to coming up with mechanisms on how to fund the digital skills initiatives. And there's also the issue of awareness on the strategy and the initiatives that are out there And this is the session today. It's mainly one of the reasons why you have this presentation. We are trying to create awareness on digital skills. And with regard to the context for the digital skills, the strategy describes digital skills as a concept covering a broad span of skills, both hard and soft, that empowers people to function efficiently in the 21st century. So the digital skills development needs to happen in an environment where people have access to infrastructure. The skills development should also focus on building digital solutions in the industry, commerce, government, and society. So we can't just produce digital skills for the sake of it. We need to make sure that whatever skills that are produced in the country are actually what the industry needs or demands. The digital skills development also requires a powerful leadership as well as collaboration. There's a lot of money or funds that are needed to fund digital skills in the country. So we really need to collaborate with other role players. As mentioned on the issue of coordination, we have established the Digital Skills Forum to ensure that the rollout of skills is coordinated. It's done in a coordinated manner to minimize duplications and make sure that available resources are used in a fruitful manner. The DCDT is also participating in various engagements with your Department of Education to influence curriculum. Hence, you now see that there is introduction of robotics at primary school level. This is the part where our department is playing a role because they also influence what is included in the school curriculum. I was reminded of the days where at school we were required to draw and label locusts, and I look back and now I'm thinking, there's progress because now people at school are now doing robotics instead of drawing locusts and labeling it. This slide is mainly a table of what the sector education and training authorities have identified as skills that are in demand for South Africa. This one, it's not the latest. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the latest, but hopefully in future I'll have the latest. These are the skills that are in high demand based on the emerging occupations. So as you can go through there, through the table, there's a need for AI specialists, data analysts, cybersecurity engineers, digital marketers. So young people are encouraged to explore these opportunities and try to follow these career paths. I think, yeah, and my next slide will be on the first 4 pillars of the strategy. That is the digital foundations. Which focuses on developing basic and intermediate skills. As I've mentioned earlier, this should start as soon as a child enters the schooling system. The interventions here, these are the interventions that needs to be implemented for us to build these digital skills at this foundation level. So we have a curriculum innovation. We have to implement a curriculum that is innovative to introduce digital skills at the ECD foundation to senior phase. We should also unlock entrepreneurial mindset. Then the next one will be to implement digital pedagogical knowledge of teachers. This to ensure that the teachers are trained to use technology to improve student learning. And the next intervention is ensuring that there is infrastructure and connectivity in schools to ensure that there is digital learning support and access to digital infrastructure and internet connectivity. It's on building advanced digital skills, which is, as mentioned earlier, it's the focus. The focus is these are developed at university and college level. The pillar mainly needs to ensure that there's future-oriented system where TVET colleges that specialize in offering digital qualifications are established, and we have lecturers and teachers that are trained to use technology for learning, as well as to recruit more students into digital skills-oriented qualifications. So there's also a need to focus mainly on, to prioritize women and girls, as there are few of them in the ICT sector. So we'll also need to use digital platforms for advanced digital skills development. We use online platforms to offer graduate programs. And we also need to create a vibrant ecosystem for digital entrepreneurship, like establishing digital hubs and offer business development services and entrepreneurship training. Moving on to the next slide, it's on skills for industry and world of work. So it's called, the pillar is called Workplace 4.0, digital industry and digital government. So this third pillar focuses on skilling the workforce to be relevant for the new world of work, which is dominated by the use of digital technologies. A lot of people have been laid off because of companies are automating their functions, which were previously performed by humans. So, for example, in the mining and the banking sector, in the previous years, we have seen people being laid off, losing their jobs because now systems were being automated. So we are saying we need to skill and reskill the workforce to be able to transition to these new jobs instead of continue doing things the old way and being phased out by technology. So for us to achieve this, the strategy proposes the following interventions: identification of opportunity zones, digital skills centers for development of new skills that are aligned with what the industry needs. This will be done through partnerships with the industry associations and professional bodies. We'll also need to implement the digital skills initiatives, which will need to be funded by the National Skills Fund. So there's a need for the NSF to invest in digital skills development to increase certification in digital skills. So there's also a need for expanding workplace-based learning to encourage people to learn and improve their skills so that they remain relevant to their work, the sector, and the work that they do in where they are employed. So there's also a need for us to have incentives to encourage these people to learn at work. And the government also needs to implement specialist digital skills program through the public service SETA, as well as the the National School of Government, as well as the Department of Public Service and Administration. The frontline public servants needs to be trained in digital literacy as well to be able to deliver services. Okay. All right, the next slide is on pillar that focuses on Society 4.0, which focuses mainly, or it prioritizes the young people not in employment, education, and training. We need to make sure that they have access to digital skills development and labor market opportunities. What's happening now? Okay, we need to first unlock learning and digital skills building through the rollout of digital literacy programs, such as the ones that is offered by NEMISA. We also have what we call SA Youth Mobi or sayouth.mobi. It's a South African youth network which is available to everyone in South Africa, especially young people, to access learning and work opportunities in their area. It is 100% free. You don't need data to access the website, and you can get some job opportunities as well. So we'll also need to address societal challenges. This is to ensure that everyone who have challenges like finance, they are able to gain access to digital skills so that they eventually gain access to labor market opportunities. I think this is the slide. I think this is my last slide. The focus here is on developing skills for Society 4.0. It's about transitioning the society 2.0, where society 2.0 is where people relied on mobile voice communication to the we're transitioning to the new world of social media and applications where people use social media or social networks. So the interventions in this regard is on the rollout of digital literacy programs for citizens to ensure everyone is digitally literate. We need to ensure that we need to implement digital citizenship, roll out of mass digital citizenship programs. This will eliminate the need for people to go and access services at Home Affairs and social development for applying for SASA grants. So if we capacitate these people, they'll be able to access SASA app and get approval on the app. This is where we want our country to go, instead of people queuing in the sun from 6 a.m. just to get those basic services. And then we also want to ensure that people have access to digital health literacy. So the citizens will also need to be trained or be given a digital health literacy. I think this is the end of my presentation. This is what the strategy and implementation program is advocating for. And I hope I was audible. And I hope the presentation makes sense.
Thank you very much, Modikwe.
Thank you.
I think
Thank you very much.
You were audible. I'm going to open it up, ladies. I think the presentation is about digital skills and how we want to take the country, and he spoke about the various sections, government, unemployed people, children, as well as employed people, in terms of the various interventions that the government through the DCDT is doing to enable us. And this is one of the things that we are doing. This digital literacy training that you are getting here is part of Pillar 4 on society that we are doing. So can you please, can I get an indication? Any questions? And he also gave us the expected qualifications that people want nationally and internationally. Okay. Are there any questions, anything that anyone wants to ask? Ladies, are we still here? Yes. Okay, did we hear the presentation? Yes. Okay, so can we get any interaction? Any questions, comments that you have? Even if it's a comment, it doesn't have to be a question, but this is the strategy that gives us why we are here for one of the purposes of this program, which is around the digital literacy skill that you are getting. The strategy is what gave life to us being able to do some of these things, because we want to take the country to a point where everybody has the ability to use a phone, to use a computer, to be able to access services online, like he said at the end. Okay, one question. You can just introduce yourself if you want to, because obviously you wouldn't know who you are.
Okay. Hello, my name is Okohle. So, I'm not sure if I'm going to be pronouncing your name right, Modikwe, right?
Yes.
You mentioned earlier when you started your presentation that, okay. Let me just think back. Hebo, why am I forgetting now? You mentioned that, Hebo.
Hi, this is Angela.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Modikwe,
What's
she
wrong?
forgot her question. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
She forgot her question. She gave the mic to the next person. She will come. We'll
Okay,
go back
that's
to
fine.
her. Angelique, you can go ahead.
Hi, I just want to make sure, did you mention that NSFAS will be funding, or you will ask that it can be funded, digital literacy with NSFAS? Will we be able to get funding from NSFAS?
Okay. Modikwe, did you hear the question?
Okay.
Is he still
So
on?
the question is whether the National Skills Fund will be funding NSFAS.
No. The question is whether they can access funding from NSFAS to do digital literacy training.
Well, at the moment, the funding that is allocated to some of the digital literacy programs is through funding from the department, which is actually allocated to NEMISA. And so people who want to do digital skills training, they can access it through NEMISA and other role players. Like I mentioned, the SAYouth.mobi is one of those platforms. They are not getting funding from NSFAS. I think NSFAS is mainly for funding students at college, at university level. This is different. This is the National Skills Fund that you are talking about.
Okay, and then just to add, NSFAS, if you want to do a university degree in any digital area, you are also able to apply, but that is just the normal university college application. If your son or your daughter wants to study computer science, and they are also encouraged to do that because of the limited skills in that area. But this is the National Skills Fund that provides funding to NAMISA and to enable us to have the online platform, and the department also provides funding to NAMISA to have the online platform where people can do digital literacy skills and also other digital skills courses. I think...
yes. Sorry about that. So you mentioned about implementing the skills, the digital skills to children that are still in primary or in high school. I think I like that. And also you also mentioned that you also have a strategy that the department or government has, which is problem solving. I think for me...
Sorry, colleagues. There are colleagues who are closer to the mic. I couldn't hear your question. Sorry for interrupting. Can you say again?
No problem. So, okay. So, firstly, you mentioned that, right, you guys have a strategy plan, which is very important, which is problem solving, right? And you also mentioned that okay, well, I'm going to say now, I think it would be wiser if these, okay, well, my problem solving, whatever thing that I'm bringing is that if maybe these digital skills would be applied even like in primary, so that children can grow up with it. Because now we are getting introduced to digital skills while we are old. It's going to take a little bit of time to understand and to know. But whereas when you're still young and fresh, like in primary, and then you can get to know these skills. I know there are other like advantaged kids that maybe they go for coding at a young age. So yeah, that was it.
Okay, thank you, Kutle. I think he did mention, but he will also add further. The first pillar of the strategy deals with the fact that we need to look at introducing digital skills from an early age, and that we must make sure that we work with basic education, and that's why in the basic education system, coding has been introduced as part of the curriculum. So, but he can add further, Mudikwe.
Yes, and one of the pillars, it's also on ensuring that society is also skilled. So even if you are older, you are still given an opportunity to acquire these skills. So there are initiatives out there that are also targeting older people. It's not only focusing on the younger ones. So we just want to make sure that everyone, every citizen is also equipped with digital skills. I don't know if there's a follow-up or I'm making sense.
Okay, can I check, is there a follow-up in terms of the questions that have been asked? And is there any other questions that anyone wants to ask? I am very concerned because we are only getting questions on the one side of the room. It's as if the other side of the room is in another meeting, and that's very concerning to me. Okay, can we move that side?
Hi, I'm Alex. Question, if the government wants everyone to have digital skills, what steps are they taking to ensure that each household has a device that you could learn these on?
How do they ensure that every household has what?
A device where they can learn these skills on.
Yeah, it's a difficult it's a difficult one on the issue of gadgets. But there are libraries and centers that are being rolled out across the country. Even if it's not enough, there are digital centers that are out there that people can use. Even if there's no device in the household, I'm sure there is a center, a digital center that is nearer, where one can just go and register online and do one of these digital skills programs. Unfortunately, we don't have devices that can be, handed out for people to be able to access. But there's also a wide use of smartphones. So most people have access to those smartphones. At least, not all, of course, but majority of households, they at least have one person who has a smartphone. So if you have someone in the family who has a smartphone, use the opportunity and ask for the phone and use the device to at least acquire a skill that will be helpful for you. And you can also gain access to job opportunities, and you'll be able to also help your other siblings.
Okay, thank you, Mudikwe.
Thank
I
you.
think there's one more question, and then this will be the last one, I think. Can I just get an indication? Is that the last hand? Yes. Okay, and then just to add to that question, there's also a program in the department that deals with infrastructure, digital infrastructure. And I said earlier that they are looking at the issues of making sure that we have digital TV, and the set-top boxes that has been delivered is making people have access to smart or to digital TV. And one of the things that we want to look at is making sure that people are able to use their TVs also to be able to use it as a device. So there are programs and processes, but yes, it is something that we need to look into in terms of ensuring that households has access to infrastructure to do the digital skills. We will just take note of that comment.
I'm a little confused. I just want clarity on this one. So what you are saying is, with the society skills, right? There's a lot of disadvantaged people, and there's a lot of people that is in shelters that do not have access to devices, like you just said earlier. Libraries, they often have ICANN centers, but I don't think, not that it's your problem. The question is that how will you or how will we be sure that people are being digitally skilled, like all the people that needs digital literacy? How will we make sure that everyone is on the same level and more advanced?
Okay.
Social development, I don't know if social development will be included in this. Thank you.
Okay, Mudikwe, I think the question is related to how do we monitor the impact of the digital strategy, because, yeah, so I will let you answer and then I will give a comment.
Thanks for the question. The strategy is actually due for review this year, so we will be measuring the impact, and if there's a need to make some amendments, come up with new interventions to address the challenges similar to the ones that have been raised in this meeting. And we are also working with this is not any initiative that is driven by government only. I've mentioned earlier that there is partnerships who are working with other role players. There are private sector companies that are on board, which are also trying to ensure that everyone gets access to digital skills. So the process for the review will also address challenges of access in those rural areas or in communities that are, who don't have access to devices, as you mentioned. So yeah, we will be monitoring the impact of the digital skills, and the report will be made available after it gets approved by the executive. Thanks.
Okay, so I just want to add that in terms of the digital skills strategy, what we also do is we monitor the institutions like NAMISA in terms of the training that they do. Also all the institutions that is in the government sector, in the society sector. So there are reports available. There's also an annual conference that is held where there's an evaluation done around how far did we go in that year. So that is part, and the entire government obviously is having to be involved in when it comes to the government side. And then in terms of society, we work with NAMISA, with other NGOs. So there are reports that's being done in terms of how many people have been trained, how many people still needs to be trained, and we look at that on an annual basis. So I would also encourage you to go onto the DCDT website and to go and look at digital skills, and then you would be able to get some information around that. But it's a good question. It's basically saying how do we keep government accountable in terms of making sure that these skills are actually delivered. So that is done. There is a monitoring system in place to monitor But remember what DCDT is doing is we've set out the policy or the strategy, and then we coordinate it through our state-owned entities like in AMISA and through other institutions in the country in terms of the training. And we then receive all that information and we put it out to the country to know. So I think in terms of the new financial year, what we will also ask them to do is to just give an idea of how many people have been trained, so that then that question is also answered before. So thank you, Mudikwe. Can we give him a digital hand? Okay, I did say that that would be the last one. And
Quickly, I just want to ask that with the strategy that is being planned for, see that you are doing a review, is that how much public participation are you considering for the strategy? Because do you take public participation in consideration, or are you just taking in comments that are coming from these type of trainings? Are you considering increasing the platform of working with civil society? And also, like for instance, this period where this department is here in Cape Town is the only time that I connect with NAMISA, so we don't hear of it from other departments. So will you consider, increasing the amount of civil society that you're working, so that when you leave the province, that the training continues?
okay, I think Mudikwe will not be able to respond to that, but he can give his comments, because the public participation definitely. When we do any strategy, any policy, any process, there is a public participation process that is put out, and we definitely do workshops in provinces and with other government departments. So even this strategy, it was widely consulted before it became a strategy. So, but the other issues about how we work with NGOs and so on, that is obviously a process that we will take back to the department in terms of beyond when the strategy is in place. But Mudikwe, if you want to comment.
Yes, no, you are right, Pat, because I mean, when we were doing the strategy, we did provincial visits. So we engaged the provincial government to ensure that the civil society is represented and all relevant stakeholders do participate in the consultation sessions. So unfortunately, as you know, the department is not represented at provincial level, so we rely on the provincial government. So we try by all means to ensure that everyone is represented. I don't think it's possible to bring everyone of you on the ground to one huge hall where they can give their inputs, but we do bring your civil society organizations to contribute. Thanks.
And we also, there's also information online. They would put it on the website. They would put it on the DCDT social media platforms where people can send their comments, their inputs. So they do a wide consultation. And then in terms of the process forward, like afterwards, that is more with regards to whether it's part of the digital literacy programs, then we would work in that regard. If it's part of the government programs, we would work with government and so on. So there is that partnerships and collaboration that's taken forward afterwards. So in this area, there's definitely partnership and coordination is how it's done. It cannot be done by the department on their own. So yeah. Can we give Modikwe a digital hand clap so that we can release him? Can we warm it up and say he's awesome? 1, 2, 3. He's awesome. Thank you, Modikwe.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues,
Thank
and
you.
enjoy the rest of the day.
You must also have a blessed day further. Thank you for the presentation.
Thanks,
Just
bye.
say something quickly, one minute.
Okay.
Good morning once again, colleagues. What is more important about information is to share the information. If you know of something that is happening somewhere, that will benefit the community or the kids or anybody, please ensure that you share. And that's how we are going to increase the numbers of the information or any program that will be run by government or whoever will be running that program. Thank you.
Okay, ladies, I just want to check if Sharon is here in the room. I just want us to quickly do an evaluation of how far we are in terms of the course, but we're going to break for tea now. But we must be, the Deputy Minister is already on his way and he will be here soon. So we will break for tea, and then after tea we will get the Deputy Minister, but then the Deputy Minister will do his address. But I would like us to just have Sharon quickly do a warm-up with you, and then also just indicate where we are with regards to the certificates. Thank you, Sharon.
Good morning, ladies. How are you? I'm good too. Let's give Mom Pat a very, very warm round of applause. Digital clap. In fact, let's do the one Tabiso taught us yesterday. Who's leading us? I must lead you. Okay, let's go. And then number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Thunder! 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 Okay, so how are you feeling today? Good? Okay, so you know today is the day, so I'm just going to call out the names of the certificates that I received. So if you hear your name, please just say present and you must make noise. This is very important, okay? Simon, Cupid, and apologies if I pronounce your name wrong, okay? You must forgive me. Hey. Okay, so it's Simon Cupid. Kibadu. Remember, you must say present, okay? So, Simon Kibidu, present, not there. Tamzin Welmese, Tamzin, present. Say present. Or just say gift. Rwanda Fredix.
Because I can't see the names. It's Ruwaida. Ruwaida van Wyk. Oh, Ruwaida Fredericks. Thank you. Melanie, what's it? Melanine Hamase. Oh, Melanie Haramse. Yolanda Gordon. Yolandi Gordon. But she's here. Okay. Joanne. Oh, Joanne. She's present. Charlene Marais. Astrid Jenken. Oh, okay. Jenke. Akiza Nokela. Priscilla Uba. Monique Scott. Rachel Lott. Asipe Nabi. Asipo Nabi. Okay. Delivia Jacobs, I think. Angelique. Ogusle Lapi. Crisalda or present? Okay. So the DM is already here now. I'm not sure. I think, is he going to come in here? Into here. Okay. Ladies, you're not going to have tea now, unfortunately. I'm not sure, but because they're saying he's coming in. How many do we still have? Okay. What we will do is we will verify the names afterwards because for now, but we can still continue until he comes, yeah, until someone tells us he's here. So, Crisalda, you here, ne? Felicia Oliver. Fachmida, is it Fageria? How do you spell the name? Wadeen Abrams. Anastasia de Veer. Janelle de Veer. Lomandi Mulder. Rowena. Okay. Magdalene. Lichlonolo. Now I'm struggling. Shanay. Shannan. Yankees. Or Lankies. Oh, Shannon. Is it Shannon? How did she spell it then? Oh, Shannon Yankees. Ne? Are you here? Is Shannon here? Okay. Abigail Williams. Rabia. Vigoen. The surname is Vergon or Vergon, iets is dit. Viljoen, oh, it's an L. See, what is your name? Emanisha. Oh, well, very interesting name. Emanisha Viljoen, laat ek het reg sê. Are you here? Okay. Is that it? Jasmine. Jasmine, jy klink baie nie so happy nie, is you alright? Jasmine? Okay. Yusera? Melanine is duplicated. You did the certificate twice, it seems. Trudy? Lumka? Togo? Is that it? Okay, so those are the ones that...
Yes, those are the ones. And if you didn't hear your name, please raise your hand. If you didn't hear your name and you gave me the certificate, I'm not referring to the ones who are not done. The ones who are done but didn't give me their certificate, raise your hand. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so how many was those? 3. Okay. So ladies, those that has given their names and that has gotten their certificates, well done. We will do the process later, but for now, can I get an indication, Lizzie? Are we? Because I don't want them to break for tea and then, you know. So I'm just trying to see where the DM is. If he's, DM is the abbreviation for Deputy Minister. If he's going to come in straight here, then we will not break for tea. If he's going to be outside until 12, then we will still break for tea. So how do you ladies feel today? You feel awesome. Okay, so the thought for today, let's just do that whilst we are waiting. The thought for today is an attitude of gratitude determines your altitude. That is the thought of today. An attitude of gratitude determines your altitude. Meaning that if you are having an attitude of thankfulness, a lifestyle of thankfulness. Okay, here's the DM. Can we stand, ladies? Okay, so you may sit now. He wants. Okay. So that's the Deputy Minister. He's here now because I was. So the thought for today is an attitude of gratitude determines your altitude. And I was saying that if you have a thankful spirit and you have a lifestyle of thankfulness, then you will be able to rise much higher than where you are. Even if you are in a situation that is dire and you start looking at what you can be thankful for, your emotional state will immediately change. You will be able to get out of that situation. And I want to leave you with something before we take the Deputy Minister. I want you to think about if you woke up this morning and you only had what you said thank you for yesterday, what will you have? If you only have what you actually said thank you for yesterday, what will you have? Because most of us forget to say thank you for the oxygen, the breath that we have. We forget to say thank you for our health. There's so many things. So we only say thank you for the food. So you would probably only have food, maybe, some of us. Others might have nothing because we forgot to say thank you for anything yesterday. So remember, an attitude of gratitude determines your altitude. With that, I think we will be handing over to the Deputy Minister now, the moment that we've all been waiting for. Thandi, are you here? Where's Thandi? Okay, just wanted to. Okay, so the Deputy Minister of the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, he is a passionate activist for combating gender-based violence. He is a seasoned politician. He has been in politics for many, many years, but he is also a father, a grandfather. He is a family man, and he is a person that is very passionate and compassionate in terms of issues relating to poverty, unemployment, and he basically loves watching YouTube videos. That's something that he does love doing. And he also is a very good speaker. He's very eloquent in terms of his speaking. And he has started a program in the department specifically looking at raising awareness amongst men around combating gender-based violence. It's one of the things that he instituted as part of the work of combating gender-based violence. And today you will be addressing, Deputy Minister, you will be addressing survivors and victims of gender-based violence that are from shelters in the Cape Metropolitan. There are women here from 3 shelters in the Cape Metropolitan, and they are survivors and victims because some are still in situations of abuse and others are survivors of abuse. And they have been given digital literacy training. They have been given information on the opportunities in the digital environment. We have had awareness raising sessions around gender-based violence and how we can overcome technology, GBV using technology. So I give you the Deputy Minister of DCDT to address you. Sorry, DT, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Ladies, I'm disappointed. That's not how we taught you to clap. It's a digital hand clap.
Let's make it hot, hot,
Hot, hot, hot, hot, hot, hot, hot.
Make it very hot and let's all stand up.
Let's stand up.
Let's stand up and make it very, very hot.
And he's a champion.
And then maybe let's start with the showers.
Can you get my phone?
And now? No, let's do the other one. Come. 1, 2, 3, warm it up. 1, 2, 3.
Warm it up, warm it up.
He's a champion.
Who is the champion? You. Haibo.
Yes.
I'm honored. Thank you very much, Pat. Mam Dalose, your team, and all those who organized this. And thank you very much to the Miss Parties yourselves. I'm very grateful to be part of this event where women are standing up on their own to sort their own lives, to say they are in charge of their lives, because that's where it starts. We are traveling throughout the country. We are going to make it bigger and bigger, and the circle is going to get bigger and bigger. We want many people in this country to shout against abuse of women, against sexual harassment, against assault, against hurting of women on the basis of their gender. We'll do that, and we're doing it anyway. We're going to do it. We're doing it. That's why I'm excited. It's all right. It's all right. That's why I'm excited to be part of this. I'm not going to be long because I want us to go to that exercise. There is handing over. Am I right? I'm out of this place at 1.
I think they will be back by then.
They'll be back by then. Okay. So I wanted to check if the certificates are ready. I thought by the time I come here, they will be ready. But I thought I wanted to say this to you. My mother, who could not read and write, her name is Hombogazi. She's no more. She passed on in 1980. How many years now? Is 45? 45 years, eh? It explains how old I am. We were about 5. I'm the only one remaining. There were 2 behind me and 2 in front of me. One girl and one boy, 1 girl in front of me, 1 boy, and 1 girl behind me. All of them are no more. When my mother brought us up, we didn't know where our father was. But we knew that the father was still alive. So you can imagine in the village, the families that have got father and mother, as a young boy, they look stronger and more organized than a family that doesn't have a father. But our mother taught us that our future, our life, our challenges, boys and girls, is our responsibility. That's what my mother taught us. She says, when you wake up and find yourself having a challenge, she says, the first question you must ask, what do I do about it? Before you spend time, who did it to me? Because my mother's philosophy was, If you spend time about who did it to you, in your state of mind, the one who did it to you tends to sound and look more powerful than you, tends to look in charge of you. But if you take responsibility, my mother says anyone else who is helping is a stakeholder. Now, I'll tell you a story. I hope my daughter is not going to see this video, but I'm not going to mention her name. She went to school somewhere, and she came back. When she came back, her mom says, hey, her relationships are not lasting. So I was worried. So I had a session with my daughter. My daughter reminded me what I taught her when she was 12. That in one of the days, she said she can't wait to have children at an age of 12. I was scared. I invited her for a breakfast on a Sunday morning. And I said to her, she reminded me now, she's qualified now, she's working. She sees a dad who is worried about the fact that her relationships are not lasting. She says to me, I'm paraphrasing her. She says, you must be grateful for doing such a successful work to me. I said, why? She said, remember you took me for a breakfast and you were worried about me saying, I want to grow so that I can have many children. So she reminded me what I said. I said to her, you see, me and your mom, we spend 24 hours a day working to make sure that you study and choose how you want to live your life. But I said to her, but you've got a choice to take advantage of the opportunity we're giving to you, or so that you go to school and you choose how you want to live your life, or go and give birth to as many children as you want. And I said to her, if you don't go to school, you give birth to many children as much as you want. What's going to happen in that family? Your husband is the only one who's going to contribute money. You will only contribute children. So if your husband says after 5 years, let's improve the house, let's improve everything, the only shareholding you have is to add more children. Because you don't have money, you don't have education, the only thing you have, you can give children. So you will be nothing to that man, but a childbearer. That's the time you start a chain of being disrespected by a man. She reminded me what I said to her again, that you said to me, I want you to take charge of your life. The reason we're taking you to school, we want you to take charge of your life so that when the boyfriend invites you for a dinner, he parks his Toyota this side. You park your Benz this side. You go to that restaurant with your key. Sit there. At the end of that dinner, say to this boy, where is the bill? You pay. What are you trying to say to this man? You are saying to this man, with or without you, my life goes on. So, you are created by God, all of you. You've got all the capabilities. I see my mother in you, who carried us until we were 16 and 17 without my father. I started working at an age of 16 in the mining industry. You must call it child labor. The reason I was able to do it, my mother gave us self-belief, self-dependence. In the morning when there is no food in the village, she gave us rules that as she goes around looking for food, none of us must go to next door looking for food until she comes back, which she comes at 5 p.m. What did she do to us? She gave us self-belief, self-reliance. Because in you, your children want to see a mother who has got a self-belief, so that that man can know with or without him, your life goes on. I'm looking at you now. Most of you are young, far, far young. Let me tell you this. I got my degree when I was 52 years old. Who knows that I got the degree when I was 52, when I meet them in the stage? There's no one. When I engage them, when I move them, who knows that I got this degree when I was 52? No. The fact is, I've got it and I'm using it. My age, damn, doesn't matter. So, the advantage you have, you are young women. You are young women. You can walk around, you can see, you can feel. Take advantage of that. We must fight this scourge with you, not on your behalf. Are we together? I'm not sure if it makes sense. We must fight with you, not on your behalf. Because if we fight on your behalf, when we are gone, you will stop fighting. Because your ambassador, your representative is no longer there. There's nothing special about man. I am a man. One of the weaknesses of man is that they are brought up being told that they are bosses. They are in charge. They will be in charge as husbands, as boyfriends. But women are brought up in a patriarchal society being told that they will report to man, they will be under the man, and in doing so, they have learned the skill how to be emotionally intelligent. As a result, it is not a surprise that single-headed families, 99% those that are successful is those who are run by women, not by men, because men can't. So you cannot be defeated by people who are as emotionally weak as men. And I know what I'm saying. And I'm here to praise you for surviving that. I am here to salute you for surviving that, because the things I'm saying are the things you have done and you have conquered. Is that okay? You are here as conquerors. You are here as winners. You are here as champions of your life. Give a big hand to yourselves for that. No one must reverse the championship we have secured. No one. In God's world. You are strong women. We'll be giving you certificates of victory, certificates of championship, certificates that qualifies you to take charge of your life. We will do it with you, not on your behalf. Are we together? The reason why it is important that you must know that your life is your responsibility You must learn from me. You know, some of you, does anyone know whether I was a minister or a mayor here? Even if it's one? There's no one. I was once a mayor. I wanted another 5 years. I was not allowed to do another 5 years. I was once a minister. I thought I wanted to be a minister for a long time. It was short. I became something else. I was once a deputy minister of finance. I thought I would have another. It didn't happen. But you know what? I never complained about it. Because every change that came, I took charge of the consequences of that change. I didn't allow myself to be a victim of change in my life. Take charge. I don't go to my children and say, yo, the president has not made me a minister, I'm a deputy minister. What can we do? And you start crying with your children. And they've got a parent who's got no confidence, who's got no self-belief. If you do not have a self-belief, you don't believe, you don't feel like a conqueror, it actually spills over to your children and they have that low self-esteem. Your children amongst you want a strong mother, want a champion, want a self-believer, want a conqueror. And then if you are that parent, they are going to be, your children will be conquerors, boys and girls. And I'm here to celebrate you for achieving just that. Give yourselves a big hand again. We are going to be with you. We're going to be with you. You know what has happened to yourselves? What has happened to yourselves through these men? It has passed. What remains is yourself. Right? It has passed. It has occurred. The only thing you can do is to learn from it, is to know the lessons. You can no longer have a headache about something that has passed. But what remains is your strength, your strong mind, your strong heart, your championship over your life. So I'm saying, I'm going to be part of you. We are going to work together. Mam Dalose has recruited me. Here is she. She dragged me with my jacket. She took me to Northwest. She took me to the Val. And she's taking me to other places. I have agreed to be with her so that we declare, we entrench, we ensure that your championship doesn't go back. You stay forever as conquerors. Now they are training you. They trained you, not so? You've been trained. So that you can go to this gadget, look for a library, do research, sell things here at home from your home, you sell it to Trump from your home. You know Trump? Do you know Trump? You sell stock leggers to Trump in America. Say, Trump, I have got stock leggers. This is how you are going to find them. Sitting at home. Your children, instead of traveling at night, when they've got access to this, they are able to write assignments by opening this, look for the kind of book they want, without using the little money that you have to travel at night in a risky time, during risky conditions. So, when you've got this, you've got everything. You will see the world. You will sit in town at home and be in Cape Town, sit at home and be in Mthatha and be in England. Don't waste this opportunity. You must learn everything they teach you. Use this. A lot of people now are doing business online, right? For instance, if you do business online, when you sell your chicken, people there There's a place called 3 Towers in Cape Town. I can see it now there. We used to run from ISIS to that place. I am a comrade marathon runner. When we train, up to those 3 towers, I can see them. Or to the cable. We used to run up to the cable. Somebody there who loves chicken, you may find that he's looking for a chicken, the one you are selling. But he or she doesn't know who you are, but you can connect that person through this machine. Can I take this call? Do you mind? Can I take this call quickly? Okay. I'll go with you just now. Hello?
Do you know how many did not get it?
Okay, Sharon and Tabiso, can you come forward, please? the lighting good?
If it's the podium, then it's this side. Together
Saying
with
he's
it.
gonna stay here.
And then the heading can be made this side.
Then he just gives like that. They come. You can stand here, Sharon.
Yeah, stand from us at coming to you.
Are we going to let them stand at the podium? Yeah, we can stand and read the names. No, he's supposed to read the names. He said he's going to read the names. Sorry, the names. I can read the names. You can read Afrikaans. Yeah. It's just that I... The certificates are ready. Okay. Yeah, we ready for the... All right. Shem, this is not like that. Okay, ladies, we just have we're just waiting, but we're going to continue with the program soon. And I think the input so far from the DM was very powerful. I don't know about you, but for me, it was inspiring. Really, it was. Yeah, I think there's a lot of notes that we can take there. So let's just relax and we'll continue soon.
There are people in charge of me. When they call, I run so that I don't lose this job. So that I keep on coming. But if I lose this job, I won't come.
Okay, DM, we're going to do it. You're going to be on this
Where do we
side.
stand?
You're going to be this side, DM.
Yes, okay.
And Tandi, where are you, Tandi? Come. And then I will call the names, and then the
Okay,
person will
we
come,
are here
and then you will
to
I'll
be your
give it to
slaves.
you, and you give it to me. Okay.
How many certificates, eh?
33.
They are small.
Yeah.
We have trainers. These are 2 trainers.
They are from Siafunda.
Where do they come from?
From Siafunda Community Training Center, but they're doing the training on behalf of Namisa.
Don't say you make me. I met so many people a day.
They do it.
I won't forget you.
Okay, ladies. Tandi, man, there must be one more person from the department.
No, they start.
Can you call?
Let's do this. They come to me, I give certificate, they greet their trainers, they go.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fine like this.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll take photos.
Okay. Okay. So are we ready now,
Don't
ladies?
stop them from taking their photos. If you take a photo, don't stop them from taking their photos. So
No, we don't publish. We know that some of them don't.
Oh.
Yeah, and also,
So you don't
ladies,
publish.
ladies, remember, if you do not want a picture, please indicate, ne?
Say you don't
because
want a
we do not force.
Yeah, when you come here and do this,
Yes, then
listen,
we
all
know.
of you, né? When you come here and do this, we know you don't want the picture. When you do this, we know you don't want the picture. No one must take a photo.
Okay, ladies, this is the moment now. Can we all be ready and give everyone the opportunity to have
My
their
apology,
moment?
I'm not part of that. Do it the way you want. I'm out of
Okay. So we are ready now. The first person is Priscilla Uba.
Can she give us transport? Uber. Thank you.
Next
Take
one.
the water.
You want a photo?
Hold the certificate. Yes. Shake their hands. Shake their hand.
Thank you.
Next.
Next one is Ukuthle Lapi.
Confidence. 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 Confidence.
The main speaker in the class spoke the most.
Take the photo. Good. Greet the trainer.
Next one is Felicia Olivier.
When you don't want a photo, you do this. That's it. Congratulations.
Rabia Daniels.
Champions.
Yes. Look at the camera.
Greet your trainer.
Rachel Lott.
Champion.
Rowena Weer.
Campion. Greet your trainer.
Ruwaida Fredericks.
Confident.
Another speaker. Spoke a lot. Sadai Geswind.
Shade.
Shade.
Shade. Shade.
Shade. Shannon Lee Yankees. Shannon Lee Yankees.
Shannon.
Simone Kibadu.
Champion.
Tamsin Willemse.
Champion.
Togo Seletele. I hope I've pronounced your surname right.
Oh, Zatoko.
Trudy.
Oh, Zatoko.
Trudy Simone Strubel. Trudy Simone Strubel.
Trudy, it's your turn. Strubel.
Van Dien Abrams. Oh, Van Dien Abrams. Van Dien Abrams. It's not Abrams, it's Abrams. Excuse me. The English one.
Campion.
Yolandi Gordon. Yusra Swart.
Kom Swart asseblief. Dis jou keer.
Your beard.
Oh, your beard.
Yeah, your beard.
Okay. What is that beard opportunity?
Your turn.
It's your turn.
Yeah.
That's your beard.
Astrid Jenneker.
Champion.
Charlene Marais. Chris. Oh, sorry. Charlene.
Look at the confidence. Look at the confidence.
Esbak. Yeah, another. Griselda Esbak. Delvia Jagels. Jagels, sorry.
Campion.
Fagvia van Riet. Fagria. There's no R. I don't see the R there. It's not spelled right then. Fagria van Riet, sorry. Janelle de Weer.
Kom de Weer. Dat is jouw beer.
Ja.
Kom de Weer. Dat is jouw beer.
Jasmine Diedriks. Oh, Turkse, sorry. Ladies, you must forgive me. Remember, I told you I can't see. Jasmine Turkse. Joanne Iso.
Esau.
Iso, yeah. Lechosonolo. Pelenomi de Weile. Vet koekoes, yeah.
Wie is vet koekoes?
She was selling vet koekoes. Lumandi Mulder. Lumka Nama. Magdalene Koen. Melanie Harmse. Melanie Harmse. Hmm? Oh, that's it. Yeah. What is the next one? Monique Scott.
Melanie.
Yeah. Monique Scott.
With your teachers.
Okay. All right.
Monique.
Abigail Williams. Sorry.
Abigail.
Akisa Nokela. Akisa Nokela. What is this? Ananisa. Aminisha. Amanisha Viljoen. Anastasia de Weer. Angelique. Angelique de Villiers. Another talkative one, DM. It's main speaker in the class.
She's a speaker, this one.
Asisipo Nabi. Thank you.
Done.
That's the last one. Asisipo. Last but not least.
Last but not least.
Yes.
Asisipo Nabi.
DM.
Hold it's yours.
I would like to call Latifa Jacobs to the front. She's the one that assisted us with coordinating, but I need you to be here, DM. We're giving you something now.
Something?
Yes.
So that I'm also a champion.
Yes, I'm going to call Latifa. She will just say a few words. She's the one that has assisted us with coordination in the province, and she works with the shelters. She's the one that, Latifa Jacobs. She works with the shelters in Cape Town, with Shelter Movement South Africa. Oh, okay.
I just don't have a checkbook. Yes, I'm better than her. She's the fake one. I'm the original one. So, yeah. So first of all, Minister, I'd just like to say happy birthday, belated birthday to you. So I always find it interesting to do a bit of research when I meet someone, especially as important as you. And I appreciate the work that you do. We, as a collective, appreciate the work that you do. This is the work that I do. I do healing and writing. And this is anthologies of survivors. This is their true story. This is how we work as counselors trying to help survivors claiming their ownership back and not focus on what happened to them. Yes. But see life forward.
Where is Will? Look at this. Remember my language. Perpetuation. Perpetuation.
So as we continue the work in gender-based violence, we appreciate when the departments come and work with civil society like us.
I can tell you, I'm a lazy reader, but because of the value of these books, I obligate to read them.
I'm appreciative of that. Thank you.
Thank you, DM. We just want to, from our side, as the as DCDT and on behalf of
I can sit down.
Yes, you may sit down, DM. Thank you so much. Thank you, Siafunda. So we would like to just take this opportunity to thank the DM, but I want to also, I want you to give yourselves that hand clap that Tabiso taught us, the one with the rain, because you are champions, you have made it, and you did come through the program successfully. So can we do that? Kanda, you are champions. Champion. Yes. I'm going to now call upon Thandi to come and do the closing for us for the program. Is it you, Thandi? Oh, sorry, Zakele. Okay. So Thandi will come and do the closing. Okay, now you are confusing me, colleagues. Okay, so Zakele will come and do the closing of the program for us, and to also thank the DM in the same breath. And we would like to just say that from our side, we are very proud of you. And please, like I said throughout the week, the skills that you have, you need to use them. So you need to use them, like the DM was explaining, that you must use the skills. So please use them. Over to you, Zakele.
Thank you, Ms. Lindes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I was about to say I'm going to teach you Swati now, but it's very late. I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you to each and every one of you for the dedication, waking up every day to come to do this training, and to those that didn't get the certificates, you still have an opportunity to continue through the app. Then you'll be able to get your certificate, although it will be the digital one that you'll receive through your phone or computer that you'll be using. So if you haven't get, please continue with the training, then you will get it. To the Siafunda team, thank you, Taviso and Sharon, for the dedication. It's always a pleasure working with you. And to Postbank, Siyabonga baba, ukuba nathi ngaso sonke isikhathi, Mr. Raymond. To my colleagues, Sistandi, Khobi, Lizzie, Petronella, and myself, thank you. To the Deputy Minister's Office, thank you for blessing us with a Deputy Ministers present. Umzwakhe sihlale sishintsha sithi sibe ukuhlangana uDeputy Minister uyeza izolo isikhansele sibuye kunjintshwe isikhathi, but finally it happened. Thank you, Deputy Minister, and your office. With that, I'd like to